Hello, you've made it through to the last fractions video, which is putting fractions in order. And I'm going to keep it short for you because you've done really well to get this far, and I think so have I. So, putting fractions in order. If I ask you what is the biggest, this is a bit tricky to think about, right? What is the biggest? Some people might find it straight away. 1/4 or 1/5? What do you think? So the question is, would you rather have a quarter of a cake or a fifth of a cake? Or if it was a test, would you rather get 1/4 or 1/5? Which one is a better score? So if you think of it like that, then hopefully you'll see that 1/4 is actually better. Yeah. So here's a quarter of cake. Not a very good drawing. All right. Whereas a fifth of cake, you have to cut it into 5 pieces. So each piece is a bit smaller. So you only get that much. So that's what you need to be able to do. So the first thing is a question like that. You need to be able to think about it. So think about cake. What would you rather eat? You know, if it was a nice cake, would you rather have a quarter or a fifth? Always think of it like that. But there's another harder example, which would be 5/6 or 4/5. Okay, so which one is better this time? So if I ask you about that, a good way, again, the test score is a good way to think about it. So who did, if you or let's say it was a basketball competition, a shooting competition, one person scored 5/6. So they had 6 tries, 6 throws, and they scored 6 shots. Why am I saying tries and throws like I've never played? So they scored 5/6. Another person only had 5 shots and they scored 4/5. Which one has the better scoring rate? Is it better to get 5/6 or 4/5? It's harder to work out. So again, you could draw the cakes, but what we're going to do is we're going to use equivalent fractions. So we're going to use that same cross multiplication method that we learned before, okay, to convert them into equivalent fractions. So 6 times 5 is 30. So we can write both of these fractions as something out of 30, and then we'll be able to see. So we do 5 times 5 for this side, 25, and for this side, for the right hand side, we do 6 times 4, 24. And there you see, it's very close. That's why it was so hard to think about it. That 5/6, if you carried on at that rate of shooting in basketball, then if you had 30 shots, you would score 25 times. Whereas I'm a footballer, so I'm thinking score, but I'm sure they've got different words in basketball. Whereas if you were doing 4/5, then after 30 shots at that rate, you would only get 24. So actually 5/6 is bigger. We say bigger. It's a bigger fraction. It's a bigger part of the whole. One more example. So this one is more like an exam question, okay, which is they mix it up. They give you a decimal. They give you a fraction. Non-calculator, by the way. You're not allowed to calculate for any of these, in case you're wondering. And 14/20. So you've got 2 fractions, but you've got a percentage and a decimal in there as well. So you're going to need to convert some of them, aren't you? You can't just look at them. So what you need to do is convert them all into, again, a fraction with the same denominator. Now, because we've got 66%, straight away I'm thinking, well, that's a 66/100. That might help me as a starting point, all right? And 0.65, well, that is the same as 65%. All right, so that's also 65/100. All right, now what you could do is you could try and simplify those down, but that would be a bit silly because you'd end up with decimals on top of the fraction. So instead of simplifying them down, we're going to take the 3/5, all right, and we're going to multiply up to make that one out of 100 as well. So 3/5, well, 5 times 20 gives us 100. That's times 20. So we need to also times the 3 by 20. So we get 60, okay, which is, so you can see it's close to the others. And then the same one with this one, it's 20 on the bottom. So to make that 100, we're just going to times by 5. So we're going to need to do 14 times 5. Well, 10 times 5 is 50. 4 times 5 is 20. That's going to be 70. So we've converted them all into fractions out of 100. which is just like percentages basically. And now we can compare them because we've got 65 out of 100, 60 out of 100, 66 and 70 out of 100. So clearly now the biggest one is 70. Now if it was an exam, it would ask you largest first or the smallest first. So let's just say, let's do it smallest first. So in that case, we're going to write 60 over 100, which is 3/5. Make sure you write the original one it asks you for. Don't write the thing you've converted it to. The next one is 65 over 100, which is 0.65. The next one is 66 over 100, which is 66%. And the next one is 14 over 20. And that's how you do it. So quite tricky, but that's how you do it. If you've made it through, well done. Give yourself a biscuit or something, whatever, cake. We've done a lot of cakes, so it'd probably be good to have a piece of cake now to celebrate. Well done for making it through. Promise you, it's not always going to be as boring as this. Thanks.